Why do the winners write the history? Because dead men tell no tales. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. So Heather put out an interesting video over the past day or two, and honestly, I had never heard this portion before. Now, the subject of said video was Kaylee Goncalves' Range Rover. There has been a lot of discrepancies, a lot of back and forth when it comes to Kaylee's Range Rover, and the original story that we were told is sort of the reason why it became such a big deal. So what the public was told about Kaylee Goncalves and the brand new Range Rover. Now, be it not brand new, but brand new to Kaylee. So whenever I say brand new vehicle, I don't need somebody in the comments saying it was used. No shit. No shit, okay? Calm down. It was brand new to Kaylee and supposedly brand new to the King Roadhouse parking lot. The night that she got there, which would have been like Friday night, would have been the first night that that car was parked there. Meaning, at the night of the crimes, it would have only been parked there for the second night in a row. And unless you specifically knew that Kaylee Goncalves was A, home from her parents' house, and B, had gotten a different vehicle than the one that she had when she was previously at King Road, then you wouldn't know. You would have literally no clue. Now, we were also under the understanding that when we were told by Kaylee's parents that she just had to get back to King Road, she just wanted to show Maddie her Range Rover so much. She wanted to show it to her best friend. Understandable.
She contemplated all day long back and forth whether she should go home, and because she just really wanted to show it to Maddie, and some other friends and whatnot. And she's just like, Mom, I'm gonna go to the Pi Fi party, and Maddie's got to see this my new ride. And I'm like, for sure.
But that made it seem as if Maddie would have been the first person in that area, in the college area, from the King Roadhouse, from that whole life of Kaylee's over there, to even seen the Range Rover. Well, I'm glad that Heather did this video because I had never heard this before.
When I went to see her and she had a brand new Range Rover, I remember just thinking, holy crap, Kaylee, I'm so proud of you. And she was able to buy it all by herself. When I went to see her and she had a brand new Range Rover.
Now, maybe it's because I don't remember watching the full memorial. It has been well over 2 years since this actually came out. But in all the conversations that we've had about the Range Rover, no one has ever mentioned this in my comments either. I have never had this brought to my attention unless somebody tried and for some reason I just didn't see it. I don't see every comment. I don't get to check every single email. So I guess that's possible. But I had never heard this before. And it gives the entire situation with the Range Rover a different perspective, but it also gives the relationship between Kaylee and Dylan a bit different perspective as well. The way that we were told was that when it came to the party that Dylan had invited Kaylee to, that Kaylee was hesitant to go back, that when it came to the party itself, it was a hesitance in her mind. And that was one of the very first things that was said to us by her family. And her hesitance of even wanting to go back was a huge red flag for a lot of people. And then the "What did you tell Adam" footage came out, and it escalated that hesitation. And people started really wondering if the two were connected. And that's when a whole bunch of drug theories came out and a couple of other theories that put a negative impact on Kaylee's life if she were to show back up in King Road based on the hesitance and that strange conversation about what was said to Adam. So according to the University of Idaho Memorial Service Real Life Ministries YouTube posting, this was posted on December the 5th, but the memorial itself was live streamed from December the 2nd of 2022. That's where this statement was made. So when Dylan says that she went to visit Kaylee a few weeks ago and saw the Range Rover, it very well could have been the exact same week that she got it. But according to the dates, the way that Heather very clearly and very perfectly put them on the screen was that she got the car on the 10th. By the 13th, she was no longer alive. So somewhere between the 10th and the 13th, which would have really only given her like 1 day, it would have been like the 10th. And then the 11th is whenever she would have actually left to go down to Moscow. Saturday would have been the 12th, and Sunday would have been the day. So if she got it on Thursday, Dylan went all the way to go see Kaylee the day she got the vehicle, the day after she got the vehicle, but before she drove down to Moscow to be in the same house as Dylan anyway. How close were they really if what we were hearing in the beginning of this is that Kaylee was hesitant to join Dylan at this party? I'm a little bit confused about why that dynamic and the fact that Dylan had been over there wasn't said to us. And it might not matter to some people, but to me it matters. And for you that have been here for a while, you should kind of understand why it matters to me because of what I was told by one intoxicated turkey man quite a few many moons ago was that he was told by Christy, who everyone knows that he actually spoke to, that Dylan and Bethany at the memorial were asked very specifically by Steve some questions. According to what he told me, whenever Steve asked if he could speak to Dylan and Bethany, who were in the back of the room while people were on stage reading a letter that they wrote for some reason, not wanting to get on the stage, show their faces, none of the things. Like, I understand the wanting to protect them that the criminal system was doing, but all this did was make it a hell of a lot more shady. But let's just get back to the facts that I was told by the intoxicated turkey man. According to what Christy told him, when Steve asked if he could speak to Dylan and Bethany while they were in the back of the room hiding, Bethany got up and left. She didn't want nothing to do with it. When Dylan was approached, she told Mr. Steve over there that she didn't hear anything, that she didn't see anything, that she was asleep, she didn't know nothing. But then again, what I was also told is that whenever Jack walked down from his house to the crime scene, he apparently overheard Dylan on the phone saying the exact same story about seeing some masked guy walking across her doorway that the cops later told us in their own weird way in the PCA. So the simple fact that Jack probably did tell the Goncalveses that story, that we now have Hunter Johnson apparently telling Christy Goncalves and Steve Goncalves about how he got called over to the house, Ethan's body was blocking the door, he had to pry the door open, get the door open somehow, saw what happened inside, yelled for the girls to call 911, and then all the confusion started. That's the story that the family themselves have been given and have given out to the public. That's the story that Christy told Intoxicated Turkey Man. That's the story that we sort of heard in the beginning of this, that Ethan was behind the door. There's a lot of things from the very beginning that turned out to be fed to the family verbally when it comes to what happened, according to the people that claim to have been there whenever the cops showed up. So I can imagine, again, Jack telling them, hey, I heard her say that. And then Steve having the realization that in reality, he asked her that. And she said, I didn't hear anything. I was asleep. I don't know. And acted like she knew nothing. That then coming out and knowing in the PCA that she actually did hear something, that the cops are claiming she was awake, getting up, opening the door, frozen shock, all the things. Okay. It had to be the reason why the Goncalveses were so adamant in the beginning that people were cleared too soon. Nobody is going to sit here and act like whenever Steve said, give the strong alibi, that we didn't have a million questions right then and there for the roommates who decided to wait 8 hours to call 911. Never mind the fact that he made another very notorious statement about how they didn't have to go upstairs, meaning they did not have to go up to that third floor, whoever they might be in Steve's mind at the time that he made this statement. But according to Steve, they didn't have to go up there where Kaylee and Maddie were. How would he have known that? So we're getting conflicting statements about the relationship technically between Dylan and Kaylee, the story about the party, the hesitance, the time frame in which people over on King Road actually saw Kaylee's vehicle. Then we have discrepancies on what Kaylee was actually doing. Because as far as we know, she was supposed to be going on some overseas trip before settling down in Texas at her new job, and she was staying at her parents' house, but I really don't understand for what. For what? If she still had things over at King Road. Let me just go ahead and play the clip that Heather placed for this one.
She had just put stuff in it, and I was talking to her as she was like packing it up, and she didn't. I mean, she unloaded some of it back at that house, but it mostly was all in there. Her purse was in the back.
She backed up to that door right there and put a bunch of stuff in the back. So,
and you
it
know,
was still there because I think
Murphy's crate was in there.
Class on Monday, and that was it.
I
Was
knew
it
she was going
final?
to take some finals on Monday and she was going to be back on Tuesday.
So she's just gonna throw some of the stuff from her room into her car, come back.
If she was loading things into her car to go back to King Road just for a few days, apparently, to take some tests and do whatever she was claiming that they were doing, my main theory for a long time is that Kaylee was asleep in her room, that she heard something going on, got up, left Murphy in her bedroom, walked down the hall, went to check on Maddie, surprised the assailant, and then all hell broke loose. Okay, that is my theory. I don't believe that they were asleep in the same bed. I think they were found in the same bed, but that doesn't mean that they fell asleep in the same bed. It don't. People want to argue with me that Kaylee had moved out, but she hadn't. Yes, technically she had moved out because she was spending the night over at her parents' house, but a bunch of her stuff and her furniture were still at the King Road house. You can see it visibly in all of the photos of her bedroom window. So it's a little strange to me that she's loading things from her parents' home into her SUV, but then apparently supposed to be loading more things from King Road into the SUV to bring back to her parents' house. That whole thing is a little bit confusing. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, and it might be nothing, but in the end, there's really nothing in this case that's not nothing. There's like a twist and a mystery to everything when there shouldn't be. Now, again, the reason why the Range Rover and who knew about it and everything else when it comes to this stupid car is so important is because if someone was going to be going into that home to attack someone, and they were under the impression that either Kaylee was gone or that she drove the other car, I believe they said it was a Subaru that she had previously, then who are they thinking? The assailant showing up in the middle of the night, last minute. Who in the world are they thinking that big SUV, that expensive Range Rover SUV that's never been in the parking lot before, but maybe one other night prior to the night of the crime, whose did they think that it belonged to? Ethan's Jeep was probably always there, so it being in the parking lot probably wasn't a big deal to whoever it was, if this was somebody that was stalking the area, which we know can't be Bryan Kohberger. But let's say it was some frat boys. How are they supposed to know if that's Kaylee's vehicle or not? Unless they ask, unless someone told them, unless somehow they found out. And before anybody puts a comment about social media, no, the Range Rover was never posted on any social media that belonged to Kaylee. There should be no discrepancies in the story of the relationship between Dylan and Kaylee and how far it actually went, and Kaylee and her Range Rover. If there's nothing to hide, if there's nothing to keep hidden, if there's nothing to have to constantly keep in your mind that you can't talk about, then why does so much keep changing? There's no proof at all that Kaylee and Dylan were close enough for Dylan to have driven all the way over to see Kaylee within like 24 to 36 hours of her buying the vehicle. Because for her to have gone to see Kaylee again, she would have had to have driven from King Road to where Kaylee was, and she bought the vehicle in Spokane, but she would have had to have driven from Moscow to Kaylee's parents' house or met up with her somewhere in town or something like that in order for her to have seen this thing. And she got it on Thursday, the 10th, and left Friday, the 11th, to drive back down to Moscow. And by Sunday morning, she was gone. So if Dylan went over to meet her, does that mean that before the memorial where she basically lied to Steve's face, according to the stories, was that not the first interaction that she had had with Steve Goncalves? Did she meet Christy and Steve prior to all of this stuff happening when she went to go and meet Kaylee? Because the Goncalveses in the interviews make it sound as if they didn't know nothing about the roommates. But now we're hearing from a letter that Dylan wrote that a few weeks before this memorial, and when this letter was written, she went to see Kaylee, saw the Range Rover, was like, damn, okay, that matters, honestly. I don't know how I didn't catch that before, but it brings like a different vibe to things. And now I really need to sit back and think. I don't trust Dylan. I don't know for sure how I feel about what her part in this might have been, other than just stupid. Because this literally could be nothing but she's an idiot. Bethany's an idiot. They have no idea how to be adults, and they damn sure didn't need to be living on their own because they don't know how to do the right thing. Self-preservation is the only thing that I can really think of here. And that can go pretty deep, which is probably the reason why they refused to cross over state line, because I'm not the only one that thinks that they were cleaning things out of that house in between knowing whatever happened and actually calling 911. There's actually some retired detectives that are on the same exact train of thought. Be it it's the only thing that we agree on, but I still think it counts. There's honestly no reason for there to be discrepancies in either one of these topics, but it's interesting that there is. But I want to know what you guys think about it. We need to untangle this and get some things straightened out, because this is all within just days of the crime, and it definitely could matter, especially since, again, this was a brand new vehicle parked in the parking lot, the parking area of a home where multiple people lived. If you are just some rando, you have no clue. Even if you are like super hyper focusing on one person, you're still going to take the risk going in there, seeing that there's an SUV that you've never seen before, something that you're not prepared for, something that you didn't plan for, and you're still going to execute. And if you want to go back to thinking that it's Bryan Kohberger, okay, so you're going to tell me that you made the mistake of not turning off your phone before you left your apartment, or not leaving your phone in your apartment and then doing it later, making your ass look hella suspicious. Then you pop up on like every camera ever, according to the cops, even though we know that all that footage is completely boo-boo. You drive all over the place, you make yourself look crazy, you go back the next morning, you do all these things being a smart criminology major. I highly freaking doubt it. And then you get there after making all the mistakes you've already made and not turning around and stopping your stupid self from continuing down the horrible mistakes that you know that you've made. You then get there, there's a DoorDash delivery, there's a strange car in the parking lot you've never seen before. It's an SUV, so you don't know if it's a chicks, if it's a dude, you don't know if it's multiple people, you don't know anything. You've made 20,000 million mistakes at this point, and you still say, oh yeah, tonight's the night, let's go. I'm sorry, but no. The car seems small. The Range Rover situation seems small. But in the end, is it? In the end, I think it might matter. In the end, I think it does matter. But again, I want to know what you guys think down in the comments. Thank you, Heather, for putting this video together. You guys need to go check out her channel. She needs more views. She puts all of these clips together and shows the discrepancies, shows the comparing and the contrasting of what they said then compared to what they said there and to what they are saying now. And she does a really, really, really good job of it. I will have a link for this video down in the description box so you can go check out the dates and everything else that she put in here. But again, let me know what you guys think about all of this down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that your notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.